welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So today we're actually doing a collab with a bunch of lovely people. I will make sure to link to all their channels in the description down below, along with also their video links. Hopefully I'll have access to them as I'm uploading this video. I don't right now when I'm doing the voiceover, but hopefully they'll be there once the video is uploaded and everything. But basically I was asked if I wanted to join this group collab and build something that was inspired by my favorite book or my favorite book series. So either, I think the others are mainly doing cast videos. Actually, I think everyone else is doing cast videos and I'm here building a house. You know, typical anyways. So yeah, I think the others are creating Sims and I decided to build a house, and we're building the Weasleys home from Harry Potter because obviously I am a major Harry Potter fan. So I had to build something from Harry Potter. It was either Harry Potter or something from Pride and Prejudice. I wasn't really feeling like building Pemberley though, because that's a huge project. So I decided to build something from Harry Potter instead. I also considered building Hagrid's hut, but the thing is, Hagrid's house is round and we don't do round houses in The Sims. And then the last thought I also had, or the last idea I had, was Hogwarts. But I don't really have the time to take on a project like that right now either, because that's even bigger than Pemberley. So I decided to go with the Burrow instead. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. I actually have issues pronouncing the house name. I know it's a little bit embarrassing anyways, but that's what we're doing today. And I will put a picture of what the house looks like in the movie in the corner right now, up in the left corner right now, because that's what it's inspired by. I was supposed to go for the book version, but I felt like imagining the Burrow, like the book version of the Burrow, and then trying to build it afterwards was a little bit too much of a that's a little bit difficult for me, so I decided to just take inspiration from the movie version of the house. I will say, when I read the book, I did not imagine the house to look like that, like it does in the movie, but I do like the movie version as well. I think it's a very cute and very unique house as well. So yeah, that is what we're doing today. But before we get too into talking about the Burrow, I do want to give a massive shout out to Nick, who is one of my friends' daughters, and I heard that you're a massive Harry Potter fan, so I really hope that you like this build. I did try to do my best. I try my best to get it as close to the movie version as possible, at least when it comes to the exterior I did, because the interior was a little bit, I couldn't really find. Actually, with the exterior as well, I couldn't find a lot of pictures that were kind of zoomed in on the house itself, so I couldn't see a lot of details on the house, so I kind of had to figure out some stuff on my own. And then some of the, obviously because they're movie sets, you only get to see certain rooms from certain angles, so I kind of had to piece together where everything was in the living room and also the kitchen. And I've never seen Arthur and Molly's bedroom, for example. I don't remember what Ron's looks like. I didn't actually include Ron's bedroom because that's the one that's all the way up top of the tower, like all the way at the top of the house, not like under the attic, because actually, yeah, it is under the attic, and then this little piece that's on top of the house right here is where they have a ghost living, as far as I remember. So since Ron's room is under the attic, I didn't include that one. I also did not include Jeannie's room because hers was in a weird spot that just wasn't possible, so I put a bedroom on that floor instead. They actually have a lot of floors in that house, like a surprising amount of rooms in that house, and unfortunately The Sims just does not work that way because I only have 4 floors to work with, so I had to just make do with what I had, unfortunately. I would have loved to be able to include all the bedrooms, but it just was not possible. So Jeannie's room is not there, and also Ron's. I'm pretty sure that I managed to put in Percy's bedroom, but it looks more like a guest bedroom a little bit. The guest bedroom in the house is also not there. Is there even a guest bedroom? I'm pretty sure there is. Anyways, but I did try to make sure that Fred and George's bedroom was in the house as well, because there is a bedroom with 2 beds in there, so I just don't know what that room looks like either, so I kind of just had to go with whatever I felt would fit the house itself. The bedrooms are very small, by the way, so there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in there. It's basically just the essentials, so a bed, bedside tables, dresser, and a mirror. And then I think in Fred and George's bedroom there's also a desk as well, because I could fit it in there, but other than that it's basically just the essentials as well. That said, I did not include furnishing any of the bedrooms though, because this video would have ended up being 45 minutes long or something like that, so I decided to cut that out. But all the bedrooms are shown in the screenshots at the end of the video if you want to see them. They're all very cluttered. I'll have to delete some of the clutter before uploading it to the gallery, because I found out while playtesting that the dressers don't actually work when you have a lot of clutter on them. And this house is extremely cluttered because, you know, Arthur and Molly's house, or the Weasleys' house, is it's very cluttered but welcoming at the same time. So yes, it's a little bit of a mess. There's a lot of stuff here and there, and I'll probably have to delete some of it before uploading it to the gallery, so just be aware of that. But anyways, yeah, that is what we're doing, and I am so excited. I've been wanting to build this house since forever, so it was actually really exciting to me to just have an excuse to do so with this collab, and I'm really thankful that I was asked to join it, because I think it's a really good idea. So yeah, hopefully you guys will like how this house turns out at the end. I did try to get it as close to the original house as possible, and by the original I mean the house from the movies and not the one that's described in the books. I think the one in the books is like, it's a lot more complicated, I would say, or not complicated, but there's a lot more shapes to the one in the books, the one that's described in the books, compared to the movie version. So it would have been a little bit more difficult to create a house like that. It's basically like rooms stacked upon rooms, and then it sort of looks like it's supposed to fall down like all the time, but it's sort of held up by magic somehow, or at least Harry thinks it is. Because it looks like it's gonna fall down at any time. Doesn't sound like the safest kind of building to work in, or not work in, but sleep in. So I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, I did try. I just keep like looking at the house and then looking at the original, and I see the tilted walls and the different shapes and stuff, and it's just not possible to redo in The Sims. I know this, but I'll always look at the real house and be like, this house does not look like that completely, and it bothers me. But I think I got it as close as I possibly could, so hopefully you guys will like it. So as far as I remember, there's supposed to be some farming area close to the burrow, and also possibly a chicken coop or something like that. There was another building there, because I did read the description again just to make sure that I could remember everything when it came to the house. But I just didn't have room for, you know, any of the other stuff, so I put in a well just to kind of represent that there's something else. But I didn't add any of the other stuff, so there's no farming area close by. I did add this little lake in front of the house. Later on, you'll see that in just a little bit. And I added a lot of trees to kind of make it blend in with the area, because we are building on a 64 by 64 in Windenburg, by the way. So I wanted to have as much room for landscaping as possible, just to make it look like it could sort of blend in with the surroundings a little bit. So yeah, I added a lot of trees in the background, and I actually really like how it looks. I'll have to do some more, I don't know, I feel like building on the 64 by 64 maybe sometime in the future as well, even though it is a very big lot. But it's nice to just do some natural landscaping around it a little bit, so we could do some kind of cabin on here or something like that at some point, once I get time with the save file going on, by the way. This house will not be in the save file. I'm just saying, just putting it out there, it won't. I do already have a lot for the 64 by 64, so this is just for fun, and I had so much fun with it, so hopefully you guys will like it. I keep saying that, but like, It's so different from what I usually build because I always tend to stick to like family homes and stuff, and I've been doing a few community law renovations, never really recreated anything, so it was fun to do for a change. I kind of want to do more. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more like this and I'll see if I got time for it. So I also gave them the garage that they have in the movie. It's kind of just like, it's basically in The Sims, it's just a roof piece you put on the ground and then you just curve the roof. So it's kind of like a half moon sort of that's just placed directly on the ground. You can use this kind of roof pieces for basically just about anything because they work fine as like proper houses actually, so you can put a bedroom in there or whatever you want to put in there. Actually, I think you can also use those roof pieces for greenhouses if I'm not mistaken. I think I've done that before, like just put a roof piece directly on the ground and then added a glass texture on it, and then it looks like a greenhouse instead. And then you just add a door on the wall and your Sims can actually walk in and out of that door and it works perfectly fine. So if you want a free house, just put a roof piece on the ground because roofing is actually free in The Sims 4, so there you go. That's a good starter house for you. But anyways, I decided to just add the garage they also have in the movie because later on I also add the car. My first idea was to have it sort of flying in the air, but once I'd already raised it up and put it in the air, it just kind of looked a little bit random. It looked really, really weird. So I decided to just lower it down on the ground anyways, and I placed it in front of the garage. So they do have their blue flying car, because of course they needed that one. For the pond here, or lake, or whatever you want to call that, I wanted it to look a little bit more realistic compared to the kind of ponds that I usually do, because I tend to kind of just frame them up like crazy with a lot of plants, but for once I just wanted it to look, like I said, a little bit more realistic, so I toned it down just a little bit. But in the pictures that I looked at, there was a lot of grass around the pond, like sort of framing up the pond a little bit, so I still wanted there to be grass around it. I just didn't want it to be overdone. So I toned it down just a little bit. I like how it looks, but I also miss the kind of crazy ponds that I usually do with like a lot of plants around and also flowers and just a lot of bushes and everything. So yeah, anyways, but they do have that pond. You just need a fishing sign from the debug catalog, and then you can also fish in it if you want to. Actually, I think I'm going to add that before uploading it to the gallery, just in case you guys want to fish in that pond with your Sims. And then here with this pathway, by the way, I thought it would look good if they kind of had a little bit like a darker brown color on the edge of the pathway, but then it just kind of, it looked a little strange. It looked kind of dirty. I know it's dirt, so of course it's gonna look dirty, but it didn't look right. It didn't look the way I wanted it to, so I just decided to scrap that idea. But in case you were wondering what I was doing before with the two different textures, that's what I was doing. It just wasn't working out the way I wanted it to, unfortunately. Plus it kind of gave the pathway a sort of 3D looking look to it, which I didn't really like. So it was like the pathway was kind of rounded a little bit, because yeah, that's how shadowing works, but it just, yeah, it didn't look right, so I decided to just scrap that idea. But they do have quite a big pathway there. So again, I was kind of going for the more realistic look, so I didn't frame it up with any plants or rocks or anything like I would usually do with my builds. It's just kind of toned down compared to my usual crazy landscaping. So I definitely need to build something where I can just go a little bit crazy with flowers and everything like I usually do. So that's probably gonna happen in the near future, I'm not gonna lie. So with the bottom floor, by the way, as well, I found several pictures where the house had 2 doors and some pictures where it had 3. So I ended up going with 3. So they have one door entering the living room, and then they also have another door in the kitchen dining area. I knew there was going to be a door there because when is it? In one of the scenes in the movie. I'm just remembering the movie, not so much the book right now. Because like remembering the kitchen, all I think about is the kitchen as it looks in the movie. Like that's the Weasley kitchen to me. I think that kitchen is just, it has so much personality. So anyways, but someone enters the kitchen through the door. I don't remember who. So I knew there was a door in the kitchen. However, in some of the pictures, I saw 3 doors total. So I had to put one sort of somewhere else as well. So they have like 3 doors going into the bottom floor of the house. By the way, the open floor, there's an open floor plan on the bottom floor, except from in the middle of everything, there's a fireplace, which is where they transport, how would you say that? The what do you call it? Flu network. So I just had to Google it to make sure that I had it right, but it is called the Flu Network. So the fireplace is what they use to get to and from places on the Flu Network. But yeah, that's in the middle of the bottom floor of the house, and then on the other side, like behind the fireplace, there is a staircase going up to all the bedrooms on the other floors. So just so you know, the floor plan on the bottom floor is just very open, basically. But I did have to Google that because, by the way, if you're not aware, I'm Danish, and I started reading these books, like, the first book was the very first book that I ever read on my own, by the way, and I read it in Danish because I was very young. I was like 8 or 7 or 9 or something, something close, like around that age when I started reading the first one. So some of the names in the Danish versions are actually translated to Danish because some of the names in English are kind of like jokes, a little bit like small language jokes, if that makes sense. And it wouldn't really make sense to include those in the Danish version. So they've translated it to Danish instead so that small people like me, when I was 8, could also understand it somewhat. Probably still didn't get it fully, but you know, just to make sure that children could also understand it. So yeah, some of the names are a little bit different, and I think all the main characters had the same names. But as far as I remember, for example, Umbridge, I'm pretty sure that her name wasn't the same in Danish, for example. Not sure about Lovegood, because that's an actual English word, but I don't remember. I mean, remember Tom Riddle's name was the Danish version of that instead, so his last name was Gould instead, which means riddle. But I don't fully remember all the translations though, so don't worry, I'm not gonna sit here and list them. But just so you're aware, some of the names are not the same to me as it is to you if you're English or American or whatever. I grew up calling some of the characters other names, and also I think some of the places as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't fully remember. It's a long time ago since I've read the Danish versions. I probably should read those instead of reading the English ones, to be honest, because I need to freshen up on my Danish while living in Scotland. But just so you're aware, some of the names are not the same in Danish. However, I'm not going to sit here and list everything because that would be a little bit boring to listen to. But anyways, so we're starting with furnishing in the exterior. What does that even mean? In the little framed up area I put out here by the front door, I'm actually not sure if the front door is supposed to be there or on the side of the house. I don't fully know, because I looked at some different pictures, and in one of the pictures they had this little framed up area in front of the house that you can see right now. This is where I've put it. But then I saw another picture, which I believe is from, is that the 6th movie? Ooh, I think so, or the 7th one. I don't fully remember where it's from right now at the top of my head. But in that picture, this little framed area was at the side of the house, so I don't fully know where that's supposed to be. It's kind of like it was just moved around a little bit from movie to movie, so that was a little bit suspicious. I put it at the front of the house though, so that's where they enter the living room, and I can't wait for you guys to see the living room because I just went crazy with clutter in there. There's a lot of decor. You guys know that I love clutter. I love a good mess. So I just gave myself the freedom to just go crazy in this house, and it was fun. It was so much fun to decorate, but it took so long because I placed down so many different things in every single room that's also why I could only include the bottom floor basically. I may have included Molly and Arthur's bedroom, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. So I'm not gonna promise it's at the end of the video, but just so you know, this bottom floor right here took me about 10 minutes, sped up by a lot. So, and I've also cut a lot out as well, so it took me a very long time to do the bottom floor here, but we're cluttering it up like crazy. So if you like clutter, this house is probably good for you. But if you don't, just don't look at it basically. But yeah, and nothing matches in here either, so it's just very cozy. It's very the Weasleys, because I know that they don't really care about that stuff. When you enter their house, it's basically just like this gigantic mess and mismatching furniture, and they have a red bookcase over there in the corner, and they have a lot of plants as well and a lot of random stuff here and there. Of course I had to include some Muggle stuff as well, just because we don't really have a lot of clutter in The Sims 4, unfortunately. Or we do have a lot, but not a lot that was usable for this kind of interior, gotta be honest. So I had to use some Muggle items as well, just, you know, don't judge me for that. But the interior is messy, so just if you're not into mess, I'm sorry, but this is what their house looks like. It is messy. I love it though. I think it's got a lot of personality, and I think this kind of, like, their house is just so welcoming. It's just so cozy, and like you can sense there's a big happy family living in there as well, so I really love it. And by the way, I'm talking about their house and not my recreation right now. I just want to point that out. I do like how the recreation turned out. I think it's very cozy, but like looking at the original version, or at least the pictures that I could find of it, it's just such a nice, like, I just sense memories when I look at it, you know what I mean? Like, they have pictures everywhere, or paintings, or just like stuff everywhere, like every single piece has a meaning or something. You guys know what I mean, hopefully. So I was kind of trying to go for that kind of look, like just make everything look like it had to be there. There's a reason behind it being there, you know? So for the living room area, by the way, I think it would have been an awesome detail if we had like separate pillows that we could mismatch with, because it would have fit perfectly into the interior in the living room area of this house, especially because looking at the set where, you know, their house, their living room set, they had so many pillows just scattered on the couch and also in the chairs, and so many mismatching pillows, and I think it would have been great if we had that in The Sims. You guys know I don't use Build by CC, so I couldn't just start downloading pillows for that purpose. So unfortunately, you know, I just feel like it's such a important detail because pillows are so cozy. So I just wanted their living room area to be like so freaking cozy, just the most welcoming part of, actually I think the kitchen is the most welcoming part, but like, you know, a living room area has to be welcoming as well. But unfortunately no pillows this time around. If you want me to do a build by CC haul and also possibly followed by a build afterwards, let me know. I know that a lot of you play on console, so you don't have access to CC, but do let me know if that's something you want to see. I'm definitely up for doing it just once. I don't want to become a CC builder. I want to stick to just using Max's stuff because I think it's a little bit more of a challenge, to be honest, and also just because I know that everything kind of goes together. But do let me know if you want to see me do that in just one video, because I did get a request to do that on Instagram over Christmas/New Year, so do let me know what you think about that. But for today, no CC, don't worry, this is a completely CC-free version. CC-free? Yeah, I thought I said it wrong. CC-free version of the Burrow. But anyways, in here we got the kitchen. I took my time with this room, by the way. There's so much clutter on the set, like, it's crazy. It's like they don't really clean up the kitchen, and I mean, I don't blame them, because do they really cook themselves? Like, do they just not use, like, they just use magic or something? They don't really have to touch the stuff themselves, I guess. I don't fully know how it works. So, yeah, it's a very, very messy kitchen. And by the way, I just ended up putting this woodworking table over here because otherwise they would have just had this, like, empty corner over in that window. I didn't know what was supposed to be over there because I couldn't find a picture of it. So I decided to just make use of it and put a woodworking table over there. I figured it would fit better than a piano, or like it would just fit in with the interior a little bit better rather than putting a piano over there. Maybe a chess table would have looked good as well. I also considered putting the Don't Wake the Llama table over there, but I decided to go with the woodworking table instead. So it kind of looks like, you know, if you just want to play in this house, not necessarily as the Weasleys or anything magical or whatever, they have this woodworking table over here, and then around the dinner table they have a lot of mismatching chairs, so you can just kind of pretend like someone's made the chairs over by the woodworking table. You know, it works. It totally works anyways. So this corner over here is not really important to the house, like the recreation part of this house, I guess, because, you know, we don't really get to see this corner very much, but I still wanted to make sure that it sort of fit in with the rest of the interior, so of course I had to clutter it up like crazy. This storage unit is, by the way, from Laundry Day. I've used basically just about all the packs, by the way. I did not want to limit myself because then suddenly I'd be, you know, missing a piece of clutter or something that could fit perfectly into the interior, and I would hate that, so I decided to not limit myself this time. And by the way, over here in this corner they have another living room area, because I knew that in one of the books something happens and one of the twins have to lie down on a couch, and I don't want to say exactly what happens because I know for a fact not all of you have watched Harry Potter, and I don't want to spoil anything for you because you have to experience everything without spoilers. So anyways, something happens, one of the twins have to lie down on the couch, and that meant they had a couch in their living room, but I just didn't know where it was. So I decided to put it over here in this corner. So they have another little living room area over here, and I put these 3 hallway tables together in this corner as well, so the 2 corners kind of go together in that way, because in the other corner they had the same little setup and they just had a lot of plants on them and also a few candles, so I figured it would go nice together to just sort of copy that from one corner to the other. So there's a little bit of coherence when it comes to that, but for the rest there's none whatsoever. So anyways, over by the staircase, by the way, I put a clock, and that's supposed to be the Weasleys clock. In case you haven't read the books or watched the movies, the Weasleys have their own special clock, which is kind of like, how do you explain it in English? Okay, so it's like it's not a normal clock. So every single Weasley member have their own arm or finger. I'm not entirely sure what you call the different parts in English. It's not the kind of stuff we learn in school, so I think it's called either an arm or a finger. Hopefully you get what I mean. But every single member have their own, and then the different times are not times, it's different places. And then depending on where the family member is, it'll kind of move around. So if the family member is at the dentist, for example, if Ron is at the dentist, his finger / arm / pointer or whatever will be pointing towards dentist. So unfortunately we don't have that kind of clock in The Sims, obviously, but I decided to just put a clock over by the staircase to kind of signify that, like it's symbolic in a way. Hopefully you get what I mean. But anyways, guys, we are getting to the screenshots very soon, so I'm gonna wrap up this voiceover now. Remember that if you want to see the bedrooms, they will be included in the screenshots, so hang around if you're interested in seeing those. Like I said before, I managed to put in a bedroom for Martha and Ollie. Arthur and Molly, there we go. Fred and George as well, and then there is one more bedroom, which I think is supposed to be Percy's, but it could also be a guest bedroom. None of the other bedrooms I couldn't fit any of the other bedrooms into the house, unfortunately, so it's only those 3 bedrooms that you'll find. And yeah, that's about it. So if you like this build, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. Remember to check out everyone else that was also a part of this collab. I will make sure to link to their channels in the description down below, so definitely go check them out. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!
It's a hard thing to know that your soul will stay hollow. Even if I know that nothing lasts forever, it's not easy to let go. Can you love me again? Can things ever be the same? All I do is see things slipping through my fingers when he turns and walks away. Yes, there he goes. There he goes. All the things I wanna say, and maybe he'll listen someday. I know it is not enough to say I'm sorry. Didn't beg him to stay, so there he goes.